Hello, good evening, and welcome to Camnet TV Main News. To present, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Top stories in the news tonight. Advocacy for women adoption goes in vain as NGOCC cries foul. Copyright issue boots out Peter Chanda from the ballot. Adoption wrangles engulf the UPND camp. Electorates reject adopted members. In international news, Ethiopia claims TPLF fighters, not civilians, died in Tigray mass killing. And in sports news, FAS warns against incessant public attacks on referees.
The much awaited for Camnet conference is now scheduled for May 2021 with your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
We have believed that every Zambian was born for greatness and that you and I can contribute to the development of this nation.
The big questions to ask are, can Zambia develop through agriculture? Can we produce indigenous Zambian millionaires? Plan not to miss this national conference on empowering Zambians through agriculture knowledge. Dates, 28th to 29th May 2021. Time, 07:30 hours to 16:30 hours. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Charges, 950 kwacha, lunch inclusive for both days. Payments through via mobile money on 0962 965 883 or 0979 753 010, or you can pay via Stanbic Bank account number 913000 1825 325. Speakers will be Professor Reda.
We need Zambia to be one of the best nations in Africa.
Nkumba.
If you listen to a lecture, you may remember hardly anything in 2 weeks' time. It's all. If you read, you may remember 10% of what you've read. If you participate in a discussion, 50% retention of the knowledge. So I always tell people, knowledge is the only thing that when you share it, you don't lose it.
Professor Msongole.
Agriculture can actually solve our unemployment for our youth. Through exports, cultural exports, we can also sell foreign exchange.
Chinga.
When you do a budget, you plan so that all the especially those that could give you low-lying fruits, in other words, you can achieve a lot with it, are the first things you do first.
And biologist Kamweneshe.
If we came together and put our hands together and concentrate on the soil. The people in Kenya, these Swahili people say, Dongo ni mali, means soil, that's the name.
Register your participation through Camnet lines. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Good evening once again. The news in detail. The 5th session of the 12th National Assembly has been dissolved. This is in line with Article 81, Cap 3 of the Constitution of Zambia, which states that Parliament shall stand dissolved 90 days before holding the next general election. Further, Article 56, Cap 1 of the Constitution sets the date of the general election, where it provides that a general election shall be held every 5 years on the second Thursday of August. In this regard, Parliament dissolved automatically 90 days before election. This is according to a statement issued to the media by Clerk of the National Assembly, Cecilia Mbewe, on Wednesday. The Center for Trade Policy and Development, CTPD Executive Director Isaac Mwaipopo has urged electorates to use the hardship they face in their daily lives as a yardstick to measure the success of incumbent political leaders. And Mr. Mwaipopo says the opposition political parties' benchmark should be based on practical solutions and not just mere condemnation made towards the government of the day. He says this gauge can form a basis for engaging in conversation with politicians. Meanwhile, Mr. Mwaipopo has urged politicians to tally the campaign messages to existing socio-economic challenges. We have more in this report.
It is true that free and fair elections cannot be achieved without citizens desisting from hate speech, tribal remarks and violence. That has been the plea for many stakeholders in the build-up to the August 12 general elections. Wednesday was no exception during a media briefing addressed by the Center for Trade Policy and Development, CTPD. Organization Executive Director Isaac Mwaipopo says political parties must be clear on how they intend to address economic issues such as high debt levels.
We also have high inflation, which is leading to high cost of living, high fuel prices relative to incomes, high electricity tariffs, and consequently subdued economic activity. In addition, issues around poverty and inequality require practical solutions. Thus, CTPD urges the political fraternity to be forthright and practical in their provision of solutions to address the problems that we have highlighted.
Mr. Mwaipopo has called on the Electoral Commission of Zambia to be impartial and work towards making sure that election results are timely announced.
There are many times we have observed that electorates vote for political parties and not the individual attributes or quality of the leader. This is a bad way of voting, as it has potential to create unbalanced composition in parliament and may also lead to having poor leadership. The Center for Trade Policy and Development would like to further appeal to the Electoral Commission of Zambia to work on the endemic and perennial election challenges. For instance, announcing elections beyond the scheduled and expected time. Such delays have led to loss of confidence and trust in the electoral process, resulting in voter apathy. Further, the Commission should be impartial in the whole process of the campaign period.
He is concerned that the electoral process bill, which is awaiting presidential assent, is not good enough, as it will hinder the media from providing timely information.
The effect of this bill is that it has the potential to quieten the media process and its involvement more broadly. In essence, only the Electoral Commission of Zambia will be allowed to announce the election results. We feel that this is against the spirit of transparency and accountability in the electoral process, as it minimizes opportunities and space for triangulation of reporting.
Cause have been that this year's elections must be about ideas and not name-calling to help citizens make wise decisions. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
The non-governmental organization Coordinating Council, NGOCC, is disappointed that the two major political parties have shown no political will in the adoption of women as candidates so far. Addressing the media Wednesday morning, NGOCC chairperson Mary Mulenga said that an analysis of adoptions so far shows a sad trend, with one of the political parties adopting only 11% of the members as women. Mrs. Mulenga says this is against the gender protocol and a clear demonstration of entrenched patriarchy and systematic discrimination of women from participating in the forthcoming elections. We have more in the following report.
12th May 2021 marks the technical dissolution of Parliament and the beginning of political campaigns. In the past few days, the country has witnessed the adoption of candidates from political parties with strict watchful eyes on the two major political parties, the Patriotic Front and the United Party for National Development. The Patriotic Front has announced a number of candidates, and in these, males are topping the list, equally with the opposition UPND, which has announced their candidates. Also, the males topping the list. This development has not been welcomed by the women organization, which feels both parties have no political will to advance women's leadership in the country. The non-governmental Gender Coordinating Council chairperson, Mrs. Mary Mulenga, Wednesday, says the situation is unacceptable in a country that is signatory to protocols that seek to advance women's participation in leadership on a 50-50 gender representation.
The adoption so far by the major political parties reveals a rather very sad trend where women continue to be discriminated. Our preliminary analysis of the adoptions show that only the Socialist Party seems set to meet the minimum threshold, with about 68 females adopted as parliamentary candidates. With regard to the opposition United Party for National Development, UPND, out of the announced 98 candidates, only 11 women, or 11.2%, have been adopted, despite the fact that a number of women applied according to the information that we have gathered. We even, interestingly, have a case in Solwezi, for instance, where a woman scored the highest, and yet she was not adopted by the UPND. For the ruling party, the Patriotic Front, out of the 96 so far announced, only 17 females, translating into 17.7%, have so far been adopted, despite the fact that women had applied in almost all the constituencies under the PF. And so we ask ourselves this question: how can a country that has recorded 53% registered women voters have less than 18% adoptions? Somebody needs to answer that question. This is totally unacceptable. We cannot continue with this trend.
Mrs. Molenga also touched on the need to hold violence-free elections, urging the police to take full control of the situation.
Urge the Zambia police to ensure the fair implementation of the Public Order Act so that all political parties can reach out to their electorates within the framework of the new normal given the COVID-19 guidelines. We also appeal to you, the media. I underline and emphasize that I'm now appealing to you, the media, especially the public media, to accord all the political players equal coverage. Additionally, we appeal to you, the media, to be very sensitive and cautious in the way you churn out your stories and carry out your coverage, because careless media reporting has the potential to ignite unnecessary tension which can escalate into violence. As the women's movement, we have consistently spoken about and have been deeply concerned about the increased cases of political violence.
Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Southern African Center for the Constructive Resolution of Disputes, SACOD, has appealed to electorates to be receptive to an issue-based campaign that is premised on political party manifestos and the constructive exchange of ideas, whilst wholly rejecting political violence promoted by any individual or political parties. In a statement, SACOD Executive Director Boniface Chembe notes that violence only breeds violence, adding that it is incumbent upon all political parties to prevail over their cadres or supporters to refrain from engaging in any acts of political violence and violent communication which tends to be a source of conflict. Mr. Chembe has also noted that in the COVID-19 pandemic era, all political parties and leaders must respect the electoral laws and follow them religiously, as these exist to assist with the maintenance of peace, security and stability in the country.
The country has been politically charged and has been in an election mode since the 2016 general elections, and the official campaign period starting today will allow political parties to market and sell their manifestos to the electorates. We appeal and urge our electorate to be receptive to an issue-based campaign period that is premised on political party manifestos and the constructive exchange of ideas, whilst wholly rejecting political violence promoted by any individual or political parties. Violence only breeds violence, and it is incumbent upon all political parties to prevail over their cadres or supporters to refrain from engaging in any acts of political violence and violent communication, which tends to be a source of conflict. In the COVID-19 pandemic era, we call upon all political parties and leaders to respect the electoral laws and follow them religiously, as these exist to assist with the maintenance of peace, security and stability.
Operation Young Vote Executive Director Ges Nyirenda has advised politicians to desist from implicating credible institutions in their propaganda campaigns in view of gaining support of would-be voters. Mr. Nyirenda has since rubbished social media speculations suggesting that he attributed the low registration in UPND strongholds to voter fatigue. The statement suggests that people were tired of supporting the UPND and its leader Hakainde Hichilema. Mr. Nyirenda says his organization did not utter such a statement, further urging people to ignore it. He explains that such propaganda will continue as campaigns heighten, but he has, however, warned the culprits that they risk facing consequences of cyber laws. He says the organization thrives in honesty and integrity and has no time to issue malicious statements.
The members of the public, our stakeholders and cooperating partners, to dismiss and disregard and also treat the statement with the contempt that it deserves. Operation Young Vote and I take this with great exception and challenge political parties to do this propaganda amongst themselves. I mean, the members of the public, they know, you know, even you from the media, that Operation Young Vote cannot sink solo and begin to issue such statements. We have been so objective in our statements. We have maintained our integrity and credibility. We know that such propaganda will flood the media in the next 3 months, especially when the campaigns heighten. And we know that a lot of such will happen because there are those that have no confidence in convincing voters, and they think using other people's names, especially those who are credible, then they will have an opportunity to convince voters. And we take this opportunity to urge the members of the general public to be wary of such media.
New Congress Party President Peter Chanda has withdrawn from the 2021 race after paying the 95,000 nomination fee a few days ago. Party President Peter Chanda, among other political parties, have been ardent supporters of President Lungu's administration through an alliance. Addressing the media Wednesday, Mr. Chanda says the withdrawal from the race was due to conflicting party symbols with another political party, adding that the party also does not have enough time to change the party symbol. Meanwhile, Mr. Chanda has revealed that his party will field in other candidates while fully endorsing the candidature of President Edgar Lungu as the campaign trail begins.
I want to state that on Monday, while my Secretary General went to take the slip of our cash transfer for my nomination fee, we were told to say they did not update the new logo and the new symbol that is on hand. And we have gone across the country and our members have only known this symbol. Secondly, we looked at yesterday's announcement where the ECZ has stated that public rallies will not be allowed. As a party that is participating for the first time, I want to state that New Congress Party, from the time it was formed under the leadership of the late Cosmas Peter Mwale, this is the first time that we are participating in the general elections. I want to state that as of this morning, the letter that I have here, I instructed the Secretary General to draft it, and I've signed it, that we are not going to participate. We are withdrawing our participation in this year's election, owing to the fact that what we have sold to our people, they cannot be able to fathom with a logo and the symbol that is there, which was designed by my predecessor, which according to the vision that I have of promoting peace, unity, stability, and productivity, the message that is inculcated to the Zambian people is not in the message of the logo that is there. New normal kind of campaigns of doing door-to-door and these other arrangements. So, however, we want to state that come 2026, NCP will form government. But for now, we revert to working with a party that we believe has the ability to carry the mandate of governing the people of Zambia. For this, I want to urge all our members across the country that President Lungu is a presidential candidate that New Congress Party is going to support in this election.
Some United Party for National Development, UPND members from various northwestern, Lusaka and southern provinces have rejected their adopted candidates. According to them, the party should listen to the will of the people and give the candidates of choice. In Chavuma district of Northwestern Province, they have rejected nominated UPND and incumbent Member of Parliament Victor Lumai at the expense of their preferred candidate Martin Sondonyi. Details in this report.
The adoption wrangles in the opposition United Party for National Development, UPND, have deepened as the party leadership is being accused of adopting unpopular candidates. Some UPND members in Chavuma district of Northwestern Province have rejected nominated UPND incumbent Member of Parliament Victor Lumai. Protesting UPND members have accused the party leadership of imposing a candidate on them. They say their preferred candidate is Martin Sondonyi.
For self elected to win the office. Bring confusion to us. He's not involved in this area. He's not even sponsoring students to the college and the other way. So I will refuse. Even His Excellency President HH, we don't like this candidate to stand again at the end. Yes. A resident of Chavuma, a member of UPND. We are rejecting Victor Lumai because of the following reasons. Lumai, from the time we elected him as a member of parliament for the past years, Lumai has never visited us during that time. The other reason is he has created hatred between our chiefs.
In another development, Chief Chona's representative, Pastor Emmanuel Kalulu, has called on the UPND leadership to respect the people on the ground in order for them to win the August 12 general elections, as they do not want Monze Central incumbent Member of Parliament.
Honorable Mwimbo has done so greatly to the party, of which we really thank him. But when the people, they have refused, I'm advising the political party to adhere, to take heed to what the people are demanding. Because it is plain and clear. When they sent people in the traditional leaders, we were there. In the churches, we were there.
It is not over yet, as another group from Chongwe district came to Camnet TV to send a warning to the party leadership over plans to adopt a person they do not want.
The time people wanted to change to put PF in the government, you lost. There were some leaders. You just won with a small margin because people, they gave a protest vote. Yeah. Last time again you joined what UPND. You lost terribly there. So what is it that will make you to do what to win? You've been there for so many decades. It's time that Mama, this time around, pave way for others. Yeah. We don't hate you. There were actually petitions, and petitions were evident enough that we have actually gone on corruption voyage. So this time around, Mama, pave way for others.
Proper people to rule the people and to bring development in Chongwe. Yes. There's no development in Chongwe. Other people, they've been there, but they haven't done anything for Chongwe. Yes. We want Ivy Musopeloba Mupass adoption letter. That's the woman that people want on the ground. Yes. Zambia. Forward. Zambia. Forward.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Republican Progressive Party RPP President Leslie Chikose has predicted a mismanaged prisons vote by the Patriotic Front through the Electoral Commission of Zambia. Speaking to Camnet TV in an exclusive interview, Mr. Chikose states that this particular law to allow inmates vote was hurried with the plan of trying to increase voters for the Patriotic Front. He notes that the other area of concern borders on the fact that candidates who would want to sell their manifesto can only give materials and not close contact with inmates, meaning inmates who vote without having an informed mind.
It is clear that the prisoners have chosen already to vote. They are willing to vote. They want to vote. But the problem is that the voting itself is at the mercy of the police officers and the executive, more or less on the executive. And when you hear the statement that came from the Commissioner of the Prisoners before, of course, the law, we hope that it can change. He stated very clearly that the prisons will be and shall be a no-go area for the opposition. So it means that already there is a bias. Whether there shall be a law that may, make the prisoner, the commissioner change otherwise, but in the first instance, the prisoner showed a lot of bias towards the Patriotic Front. So I think that really we would have opted that prisoners are given respect by allowing them more time to understand this voting thing. They don't know where they're going to vote. Some of them have lost their voters' cards, the NRCs and so on. But it is just done selfishly to try and secure victory.
Independent presidential candidate Kalabi Masua says there is a heavy political hand in the operations of the mining sector in the country. Mr. Kalabi's comments follows the $153 million debt Konkola Copper Mines owed to Copper Belt Energy Corporation. According to the CEC annual report and financial statements for the year ending 31st December 2020, the KCM debt accumulation has continued to negatively affect the company's annual financial result. KCM is currently run by the government through the Ministry of Mines. Mr. Kalabi has since called for a fair business practice that is void of political influence.
The political landscape has interfered so much into the private sector, and because the political parties have got so much influence and the repercussions to those private sector entities can be delivered with such harsh precision, you will have those doubts whether what you're seeing in the public space is the true picture or not. With us, this is one of the key things we're talking about as an independent presidency. Mm-hmm. If you have an independent presidency, there will be no doubting information that's in public domain. Mm-hmm. Because the independent presidency does not protect anyone and does not put any fear into anyone from coming out openly. As I keep saying, the best way to solve a problem is to identify it honestly. So if there are already questions on the honesty with which this issue is being discussed, then how do you get to put the right solution?
You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news.
At Master Signs, our services range from outdoor, indoor signage such as billboards, banners, 3D light boxes, pylons and neon signs. We are located at plot number 397A, Makeni Road, Lusaka, at Oryx Filling Station. For more details, call us on +260 967 100 090 or +260 966 999 981, or better still, email us at infomastersign@gmail.com. Master Sign, we will make it shine.
It's Mayday all the way. You've worked hard. Now it's time to play even harder with entertainment that you'll absolutely love this month on GoTV. Okay. Shake things up a little and you'll never know what drama will fall. No matter your age, there's always some fun to be had. And if it ain't broke, they'll fix it anyway. For your favorite shows, stay connected to GoTV to get into Mayday entertainment.
Find something to distract me.
You got it, no problem. GoTV, love it.
In this fast-paced era of industrial boom and population growth, there is need to invest in smart ways of managing electricity and water consumption and reducing utility billing costs associated with the postpaid billing system. At Savenda Electronics, we manufacture right here in Zambia different types of high-quality smart electricity and water meters to customer specifications. Savenda Electronics water and electricity meters help you monitor your usage and gives notifications such as low units, tampering, low battery, and many other features. These easy-to-use meters makes it easier to buy units even in these COVID times and top up just from the comfort of your space. Favorable contract terms are available to both electricity and water utilities. For more details, get in touch with us on the following numbers: 0956 580 349 or 0977 498 318. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
2021 has been described as a highly politically charged year. This is because every 5 years the country goes to the polls, and that 5 years elapses with only a few months remaining down to the ballot. The battlefield to appear on the ballot is becoming fertile. A lot of people are expressing interest of appearing on the ballot.
In all this, our interest is to put the duty bearers, the leaders, and those aspiring to task by asking the relevant questions.
If you're an aspiring candidate, be it councillor, mayor, or member of parliament, get in touch with us to get yourself on the verdict.
We go beyond speculation in dealing with policy and governance issues. The right questions are asked to help you make a verdict.
For more details, you can call us on 0962 965883, 0979 753010, or email us info@camnettvafrica.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Join us on Camnet TV
every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 17:45 hours
on a new program dubbed The Verdict.
Remember that Camnet TV is not just another channel.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. A Lusaka lawyer has asked the Constitutional Court to strike out the matter where constitutional lawyer John Sangwa is seeking an order that the Electoral Commission of Zambia includes a paragraph which states that a presidential candidate has not served for 2 terms in their affidavit for presidential and running mates because it does not disclose which provision of the law has been abrogated by ECZ. Counsel Louis Mosho has been joined as interested party to the petition brought by John Sangwa. This is in a case in which Sangwa has petitioned the Electoral Commission of Zambia for eliminating the part which requires a presidential candidate to state the number of times they have held office as president in form number G-Gen 4 to be sworn by presidential candidates when filing nomination papers. In an affidavit in support of notice of motion to raise preliminary issues, Mosho claims that there is no constitutional question that arises from Sangwa's petition. Meanwhile, Senior State Counsel John Sangwa has asked the Constitutional Court to dismiss the motion filed by Lusaka lawyer Louis Mosho, citing lack of merit. Sangwa has argued that his petition does cite constitutional issues and added that Mosho has no authority to file a motion because he is not a petitioner or respondent in the matter. Former Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry Christopher Yaluma has urged Zambians to rally behind the Proudly Zambian campaign aimed at promoting locally produced products as a way of supporting the recovery of Zambia's local businesses. Mr. Yaluma explains that by so doing, this will respond to the economic recovery program aimed at restoring economic growth to 3% by 2022. The former minister was speaking at the launch of the Proudly Zambian campaign catalogue, which is published under the theme Pride in Our Products. Mr. Yaluma also urged all companies whose products and services are noted in the catalogue to register with the Proudly Zambian campaign and obtain the official logo for use on their products.
The Proudly Zambian campaign was launched in 2018 and aims to promoting the production and consumption of local products and services. My ministry and Zambia Association of Manufacturers, ZAM, signed a memorandum of understanding in 2018 to mark the beginning of the robust implementation of the nationwide campaign to boost the quality and perception of Zambian products and services, increase consumption in domestic and international markets, as well as begin to develop proudly Zambian identity that resonates with who we are as a people.
Former Minister of Tourism and Arts Ronald Chitotela winded up duties as minister by leaving a 7-member National Museums Board in place. Speaking when he inaugurated the board yesterday, the minister called on the board to expedite the implementation of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Zambian and French government on the setting up of a Museum of Natural History in Lusaka. The minister called on the new members to provide oversight to the organization and make sure that they avoid conflict with management by not overlapping institutional roles. And new board chairperson Fanuel Ponde expressed confidence that the new board will deliver according to expectations, considering the wide spectrum of expertise in the selected team.
One of the actions that the board and management will need to urgently implement within the framework of the cooperation with the French authorities is the establishment of the Museum of Natural History in Lusaka. I am pleased to note that land for the project has been identified. In this regard, the board will need to prioritize this project. And if you want to play the role of management also, you begin creating conflict. The role of the board is an oversight. You need to provide strategic direction and then move and observe. Don't interfere with the operations of management, but please do not hesitate to intervene. When you see things are going wrong, you need to quickly move in and intervene. The office of the permanent secretary will be open. If you have things you need to consult, please go to him. He will be able to gladly help. The public of Zambia wants to see immediate improvement in the management of museum in the country.
As we settle down to embark on this noble cause in contribution to national development, we have noted the challenges that the board is currently facing, which are inhibiting its meaningful contribution to national development. We are confident, Honorable Minister, that the team of board members that your office has assembled with different professional knowledge and skills, working in collaboration with the government and other stakeholders, will put in place measures that may enable the board resolve some of the challenges, or if not all.
State-owned telecommunications company Zamtel has underscored its commitment to give back to consumers who have continued to contribute to the growth of the firm. And in the spirit of giving back and customer appreciation, Zamtel, in partnership with Alliance Motors Zambia Limited and Zistron Advanced Solutions Limited, launched the Win a Range Rover campaign, granting its customers a chance of winning a brand new 2020 Range Rover Evoque. Zamtel Chief Executive Officer Sydney Mupeta says the campaign will run until the 12th of June 2021.
It comes with a full 5-year free service package and all applicable taxes and insurance paid. So once you announced as the winner of this beautiful vehicle, the only thing you need to do is present yourself and drive off in this wonderful vehicle. If you don't know how to drive, bring your brother to drive for you. It's allowed. At Zamtel, all customers are winners. And this campaign, ladies and gentlemen, reassures our commitment to make the customer experience worthy, unique, and outstanding. We are confident that the Win a Range Rover campaign will add significant value to our customers' lives and bring out smiles, especially at the time when of grim effects that we're battling under.
This is Camnet News. We'll take another break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Every day for me means hard work. Going to sell my goods at the local market. To get more customers, I have my secret. Oracle Pure Glycerin. It's soft, smooth, and keeps my skin perfect. And my customers know it. Thank you, Oracle, for my perfect skin.
This month, we're taking over your TV screen with brand new entertainment.
We're the new leaders, ain't got no competitors.
A Border Patrol agent is forced to work for a Mexican cartel in Coyote.
My family! It's up to you to keep them safe.
A Ghanaian fashion designer weathers societal prejudice while chasing her dreams in 40 and Single.
Single ladies to the dance floor.
A husband will stop at nothing to cover the tracks of his wife's outrageous crime in What If?
It is your responsibility to make sure that I come out clean.
3 chefs go head-to-head using ingredients chosen by their very own neighbors in Kitchen Crash.
Oh, I love it. It's blended. It's meat sauce.
There's meat sauce.
And there are wacky adventures galore when 2 families are forced to live together in Boy, Girl, Dog, Cat, Mouse, Cheese.
We can handle it.
It's your moment to be taken over with the freshest entertainment.
The much awaited for Camnet conference is now scheduled for May 2021 with your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
We have believed that every Zambian was born for greatness, and that you and I can contribute to the development of this nation.
The big questions to ask are, can Zambia develop through agriculture? Can we produce indigenous Zambian millionaires? Plan not to miss this national conference on empowering Zambians through agriculture knowledge. Dates, 28th to 29th May 2021. Time, 0730 hours to 1630 hours. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Charges, 950 kwacha, lunch inclusive for both days. Payments through via mobile money on 0962 965 883 or 0979 753 010, or you can pay via Stanbic Bank account number 91 3000 1825 325. Speakers will be Professor Reda.
We need Zambia to be one of the best nations in Africa.
Professor Munkumba.
If you just listen to a lecture, you may remember hardly anything. In 2 weeks' time, it's all gone. If you read, you may remember 10% of what you've read. If you participate in a discussion, 50% retention of the knowledge. So I always tell people, knowledge is the only thing that when you share it, you don't lose it.
Professor Msongole.
Agriculture can actually solve our unemployment for our youth. Through exports, agricultural exports, we can also stabilize our foreign exchange.
Honorable Bobs Chinga.
When you do a budget, you plan it so that all the sectors, especially those that will give you low-lying fruits, in other words, you can achieve a lot with it, are the first things you do first.
And biologist Kamweneshe.
If we came together and put our hands together and concentrate on the soil. The people in Kenya, these Swahili people said, Dongo ni mali, means soil, that's money.
Register your participation through Camnet lines. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. In international news, Ethiopia says the majority of the people killed during a mass killing in the war-torn Tigray region last year were fighters and not civilians, as reported by rights groups. Officials have presented new findings relating to a mass killing in the city of Aksum in late November. The officials say 93 people were killed by forces from neighboring Eritrea, and they were mostly from the Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF. Meanwhile, African News reports that 716 people have officially died from the coronavirus since 23 March 2020, and 38,874 cases have also been recorded in Madagascar. While the number of deaths seem low compared to many countries around the world, the second wave in recent weeks has been particularly alarming. In 1 month, Madagascar has recorded more than 12,900 cases of coronavirus and no less than 240 deaths. In hospitals, the lack of oxygen and medical equipment has been felt. Here's a roundup of international news.
Hundreds of civilian men and teenage boys were massacred by Eritrean soldiers in the Ethiopian town of Aksum in November last year, according to rights groups. Amnesty International released videos which it says were verified by dozens of testimonies, including this one of one of the victims. Ethiopian and Eritrean forces were pursuing the Tigrayan People's Liberation Front, or TPLF, who'd previously controlled Ethiopia for most of 3 decades. Ethiopia's Attorney General has said the people killed in Aksum were in fact combatants.
It is established that the great majority of those killed in this incident were members of the fighting force of the TPLF, who engaged the Eritrean forces, though they were not in uniform. These forces later went back to the city and attacked civilians in the streets. According to our investigation, 93 individuals were killed due to fighting.
The government's report contradicts not just Amnesty's report, but also the findings of Human Rights Watch and the government's own Human Rights Commission.
Found that to be in stark contrast to what we have found, because from our findings, we have seen that most of them were civilians, and the Eritreans conducted house-to-house raids to pull out the male members of the families they found and kill them in front of their family members.
Aksum isn't the only massacre. Here, relatives mourn protesters who were reportedly shot by Eritrean soldiers in the town of Wukro in February. Thousands of civilians have been killed in the conflict. Eritrea denies its soldiers have committed abuses. Ethiopia says it's open to independent investigations. Elections are due next month, and Ethiopia's Prime Minister, Abiy Ahmed, wants to stay in office. Some opposition and observers say there's no chance of a free and fair poll. Inter-ethnic violence in some regions and the war in Tigray will mean many can't vote. Since the conflict began 6 months ago, media access has been heavily restricted, but reports of rapes and massacres keep coming. This is one of several videos circulated on social media of what appears to be Ethiopian soldiers executing at least 11 unarmed men and throwing their bodies over a cliff. Researchers and journalists verified it last month. The government dismissed their claims. Rights groups say the UN and the African Union have done too little, too late to try and stop the atrocities.
In this hospital, 7 hours drive from the Malagasy capital, 7 patients are hospitalized for COVID-19, 2 of whom are suffering from a severe form. Each day for the past 3 weeks, this lady has been visiting her husband. Once there was a power cut and the generators did not work, and when the electricity is less powerful, the oxygen also goes down or stops. After a month in hospital in Antananarivo, Jean-Pascal has just been released. Although he has to take medication for another 2 months, the worst appears to be over, and he's finally cured of COVID-19. The most difficult thing was that there were not enough oxygen tanks. When the oxygen tank runs out early, we have to wait 3 to 4 hours for a new one to be delivered, and in the meantime, several people ventilate me by hand. On oxygen for 25 days, this 48-year-old father did not expect to survive. It was very hard to see people dying next to me. At times, it was my roommate who was dying. I could see him suffering. He would say, "I can't breathe anymore." And a few minutes later, he died. Although the Malagasy government has just received 2,000 bottles of oxygen, the paramedics union says the hospital still lacks resources. There are not enough doctors, there is not enough medicine or oxygen. In 24 hours, a patient suffering from a severe form of the coronavirus needs at least 5 to 6 bottles. With the arrival of the vaccine on the Big Island, many Malagasy are regaining hope. As here in this health center for diabetes treatment, this lady is one of the very first people to be vaccinated in Madagascar. I have children abroad. If one day I have to go out of the country, I will be asked for my vaccination booklet. That's why I wanted to get vaccinated, so I can travel. Since yesterday and throughout the month, 250,000 doses of the vaccine will be administered. First to diabetics, health workers, and police staff. Despite the reluctance of part of the population, over 1,500 people have registered here at this center in less than a week to receive the Covishield AstraZeneca vaccine.
We now have sports news. In sports news, the Football Association of Zambia, FAZ, is concerned of the growing number of officials that are routinely making comments that are bringing the game in bad light. FAZ General Secretary Adrian Kashala says football administrators and officials have stipulated channels of airing their grievances. Kashala has reminded the members that they are all bound by rules and are not at liberty to liberally attack match officials publicly. A trend, he says, is slowly getting out of hand and must be checked. And Kashala also says the Confederation of African Football has taken interest in the case of Onkana Queens Football Club attacking match officials during a league match. CAF referees manager Eddie Mailet has written to FAZ saying the refereeing board as well as security have taken interest in the Zambian case. This is according to a statement issued to Camnet TV by Football Association of Zambia, FAZ. The sporting item brings us to the end of our news, but before we go, we take a look at the headlines once more. Advocacy for women adoption goes in vain as NGOCC cries foul. Copyright issue boots out Peter Chanda from the ballot. Adoption wrangles engulf the UPND camp. Electorates reject adopted members. And in international news, Ethiopia claims TPLF fighters, not civilians, died in Tigray mass killing. And in sports, FAZ warns against incessant public attacks on referees. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, coming from Luke 6 verse 45, and it reads, "A good man produces good out of the good storeroom of his heart. An evil man produces evil out of the evil storeroom, for his mouth speaks from the overflow of the heart." My name is Jeffrey Zambo, and thanks for watching Camnet News. Bye-bye.